All right, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, however you may come. That was Brother Lorvins from his album that he produced. And we're going to have Brother Lorvins on, get him on here. That was from his album called We the People. We the People. He's got several songs on there that I like. Kumbaya, We the People, Forever, Lord's Prayer, One Third. I like that one that he calls One Third. Let me see. He also has several others on there. I've been changed, reveal yourself. So tonight, Bible study tonight. Let me just make sure I got my microphone set, scheduled, all of that good stuff. Y'all let me know how it's going there. And if you can hear me okay, that's good. So I'm going to get the microphone set up. I'm also going to get myself set up here on the phone so I can just watch, here also um, from you all so I can tune in. So I want to say happy Sabbath to all of you all. It's a wonderful Sabbath. Um, let me see. I got a message here that is from one of the individuals I was hoping that was going to be here tonight. Um, so listen, we have a special guest that's going to be on tonight, and I'm just waiting for him to tune in. But I told him to take his time. We're going to get underway, and we're going to be seeing what all of you all are doing here. Um, there we go. All right, I'm set. I'm scheduled. So let me say this. We always want to begin in prayer, so we're going to do that. So let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for our life, our health, our strength. We thank you for who you are. We thank you for your only begotten Son. We ask that you just look upon this Bible study tonight, the guests that we're going to have, and we just hope and pray that as we go about tonight, that someone will be touched, edified, and exhorted through the words that we speak about, the thoughts that we have, and the guests that we have. These things we ask and pray, amen. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you've had a wonderful week. We're going into the Sabbath coming up. And as we go into the Sabbath, of course, there's always a lot going on. So just give me 1 second. I want to make sure I am set up here so that I can make sure. Here we go. All right. I think I'm on now. All right. Let me cut this down. We got it. Good. Three, two, one. This is how I monitor the chat room. So I just want to say, who do we have in our chat room? We got, hey, Sister Veronica was first to tune in tonight. I want to say hello to her all the way up in, I believe, in Michigan. We have, let's see here, warmth, soft. I'm sorry, a warm, sought fidelity in Yah Shalom. Brother Philip and Sister Quiana, Brother Tobiah, Brother Jay Pons, all of you all, happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. We're going to have a great time tonight. And in the midst of having a great time, I just want to share a couple of things with you that we're going to be doing. Number one, tomorrow at Bethel, we're going to be having a baptism. And that baptism is going to be taking place at the Atlantic Ocean. Yes, when we baptize here in South Florida, we actually go to the Atlantic Ocean. So that's going to be here in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to be doing this. If you're in the area, meet us down at our congregation at before 9 o'clock because we're going to be leaving at 9, and we're about a 5-10 minute drive to the beach, and we're going to be getting there before people come on the beach, and we're going to be baptizing two gentlemen, and so we're looking forward to that. That's going to be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We will be driving, uh, departing to go to the beach. Again, it's like a 5 or 10 minute drive. We always are enjoying when we're able to do a baptism. Also, tomorrow, this week, um, I guess this month, we are embarking on a series at 1 o'clock, and it's biblical stories. Last week we covered Esther. We really dove into Esther last week, the book of Esther, and we really broke that book down. If you missed last week's lesson, go back and look. I'm going to be creating a playlist on my channel that's going to be titled Sabbath Messages. And I'm going to be trying to put all of those lessons in that lineup. You can also get them from the regular uh, side, but I'm going to make it where it's easier for you all to see. So, Brother Ronnie Wealth, how are you? Sister Tia, how are you? Sister Sheila, how are you? Just always glad to have you all come in and be a part of us on our Bible study nights. We also have Miss Gwendolyn Stevens. So happy that you're here with us as well. Um, that's what you're going to be finding out tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're going to be going in. Um, I'm just leaving a message. We're going to be having that message. Tomorrow's going to be on the story about the prodigal son. Um, I always teach doctrine, and I think doctrine is important because we're going into a time where people need to know about the Sabbath, eating clean, the dietary law, the Sabbath, the feast days, all of that stuff. And those things are very important. But there are also occasions where I need to go into the biblical stories. These stories that are in the scriptures have a relevant um, value in our life. You can always get a life lesson from those stories. So last week out of Esther, we got that. So tomorrow we're going to be diving into the story dealing with the prodigal son. You want to tune in for that. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to come from a dynamic that people normally don't come from. And we're going to be jumping into that. So it's going to be tomorrow at 1 o'clock or thereabout. So if we're 5, 10 minutes late, just bear with us. But if you tune into this channel and subscribe, you will get us. The next week after that, we're going to be going into some things about David that's going to amaze you. So these stories, the last week and going into the weeks to come, is going to be very interesting. So we're doing this before we start getting into our lessons on the Feast of Trumpets. Now, the Feast of Trumpets, as I told you last week, and in the card cams, you need to start reading the story about the walls of Jericho. Read that story, read it, read it. You're going to get something out of it, but don't read it just one time, read it several times because you'll find that you're going to start getting something out of it, developing a pattern in which the story is laid out. That's going to be very important when we go into the lesson on the Feast of Trumpets. So I have a special guest tonight. Now that I got all the announcements out of the way, I also want to say thank you for those that support us on Patreon. We're able to do a lot of things because of that. I'm going to put it here in the chat room. And I want to thank all of you all because things like what we're getting ready to do now with the special guest, I think I did it right, patreon.com, Pastor Johnson. That is where we are, and I think it's www before that, but yes. So if it whatever you want to do to help out each month to allow us to continue to do this, we do thank you for that. We have a special guest tonight. This gentleman is doing a lot of great work in the field, and he's doing a lot. That's basically what I can tell you. He is doing a lot. before we bring him in here, I want to let you all know, I want you to go to his channel. Okay. I want you to go to his channel. Here's his channel right there. Um, Go to his playlist. Yes, that's Brother Banaya Israel. He's with us tonight. We're going to be tuning into him in just a few seconds. But go over to his YouTube channel, Brother Banaya Israel. You can look at all of the videos he's put up. He has done, he's got one on 1619 lecture, Judah's arrival in the daughter of Babylon. I just saw this. It is excellent. Go check that out. That's very good. Um, uh, so I have not seen, let's see. Yes, he's got one here, 400 years anniversary. Um, just some other things that he's doing. We're going to talk to him about that right now. And that's our own brother, Banaya Israel. Let me see if I can bring him in here. And he is here with us tonight, Brother Banaya Israel. Uh, Brother Banaya, how are you, my brother? I hope that you're in here with us. And he is. Turn your phone the other way. There you go. There you go. And I think you might need it to do it in landscape. There you go. How you doing, my brother?
Does that work? Okay.
That's perfect.
Hey,
perfect.
Shalom, family.
Man, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
what have you
I
been
gotta
doing?
apologize, Pastor, because it's like when I remember to call you, I'm like not in a position to call, but then ultimately I remember to say, oh man, I forgot to call Pastor Johnson. So I apologize, Pastor. I meant to call you a long time ago.
Yes,
long
yes.
time ago.
We're overdue. We're overdue.
Yeah.
But I do want to say I hope everything is well there with you in Georgia, the family, and all like that, and to say happy Sabbath to you.
Oh, happy Sabbath to you too, Pastor. Yeah, everything's good. Everybody's well. Just kids are getting back to school. Work is still work. So same old, same old. But I'm excited because there's a lot of truth that seems to be coming out, especially about our history. About our history and some things that I call them puzzle pieces. We have a bunch of puzzle pieces that are starting to pop up that are kind of helping to fill in the picture of our history. So very exciting times.
Yeah, it is very exciting time. And let me tell you, man, there is I've been watching the politics, and I've been watching what's unfold. And right now, America is really in turmoil because it's in turmoil with itself.
Right.
So these things have come up to a level where people feel that their entitlement is jeopardized. And so, believe it or not, these things are unfolding the way that they're unfolding because these are little pieces of the puzzle that must get put in place so that prophecy can line up and be fulfilled. That's what we have going on here.
Yeah. You can tell. I mean, I don't know if you've been following the the whole all the investigation going on into the president and all of his dealings with the the Russians and stuff like that. You got 2020 elections coming up. With the Russians, still have their hands in our ballot boxes, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting. I think, if not this year, I think definitely next year is going to be interesting because you see all these things coming to a head where, I like I tell people, I say that our current president kind of reminds me of a bad relationship. Like you try to break up with that old girlfriend that'll flatten your tires and do that sort of thing. He's the dude. He's the one that'll. I don't see him leaving gracefully. Let me just put it to you that way.
Yes. And let me say this. I just started to follow on this Jeffrey Einstein
Oh,
thing here.
yeah,
And let me tell you, if you think this guy committed suicide, uh, I tell you, Stevie Wonder can see through that.
yeah,
There's a lot going on there. The information that he had, uh, the the acts that he was involved with, and you can see the Almighty just removing blankets, and somebody somewhere just did not want information to get out.
yeah,
But I think it's done more damage than people really thought about. And
yeah,
so I've been looking at that and following that. And then, of course, Russia and China have to get their house in order. And I've been watching how the president and the Democrats are vowing, if they get elected, both are saying they're going to bring troops home. And of course, that's going to open up the Brexit movement. Britain leaving the European Union. Of course, the European Union has a lot to do with the statue that Daniel saw, the 10 toes. So we see a lot going on. But apart from all of that, my brother, you are
right.
still producing videos. You are still educating us. You're doing a phenomenal job. What has been your latest work?
Well, it's 1619. It's to commemorate the 400 years anniversary of we so-called African Americans in this country, and it kind of goes beyond what we've been taught in the school system. Oh, let me pause for a second. How's my audio? Because I'm not sure. Is my audio and video coming through clear?
Well, I noticed it did pause, but we still heard you. But now it's not
Okay.
stopping. But your audio was going and seemed like your video
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
froze a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let me know if it pauses too much, but yeah, as far as like the latest video, it's about 1619. I actually just put a post on my channel, but it's about 1619. The history that we've been taught in school has to do with Virginia. We've been taught that 29 Negroes landed in Jamestown, Virginia, right? And the history may even go into about these Negroes were taken off of the White Lion, and then the White Lion took it off another ship. Sometimes they mention the ship, sometimes they don't. But it's the John the Baptist is the English word for the name for the ship. And then they usually stop there, as far as like the history of it. And the interesting thing is that if you go beyond that, if you first of all, what I tell people is like if you look at the Inquisition, because there's no way you can tell this history and not even mention the Inquisition, because the Inquisition was literally on the west coast of Africa. It was in Sao Tome. It was in these places like Luando. It was there. They had churches, they had cathedrals, they had all these big edifices, for the Roman Catholic Church. And the fact that they're not mentioned and that they're there kind of should, it should raise your eyebrows to, are they trying to hide? What are they trying to hide?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? Like, and then but the 1619 video then goes into, well, do you know that the place where these slaves came from was a destination for the Inquisition? And what I told folks in a recent lecture was that if you ever heard of Alcatraz? I don't know if you guys
Yes.
heard of Alcatraz before. Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, so Alcatraz
San
is a place where they
Francisco.
send. Yeah, I mean, like that's where they send like the convicts. I guess they call it a penal colony. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what they call it. It's where they send those that are convicted and they live out their sentence on Alcatraz. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what people don't know is that Luando, the place where these 29 Negroes came from, was an Alcatraz of the Inquisition. So the Inquisition, they would convict their people, and then they would take them to their Alcatraz, which was Luando. Now, their
Okay.
Alcatraz was a little bit different than our Alcatraz in that they had some extra freedoms, in Luando. But at the same time, there was a commandment from the king that not only were they to send their Jews to this Luando Alcatraz, but they were also to make them slaves. And so, a few years later after that decree, we then see some ships leaving the very place that they were sending these the children of Judah to, and that's how you get 2019 in Virginia. So that's the piece of history that's left out when it's taught to us in these schools.
So when you say that's how you get your 2019 from Virginia, you're talking about when the first recorded slave ship came to the United States, and I think they say St. James or the colony in Virginia. Yeah. And let me tell you, the 400-year anniversary is very important. I do believe in that the prophecy Abraham gave is dual. I also believe that it was speaking to the children of Israel that was coming out of Egypt, but we also see a correlation, because we have to look at prophecy in a correlation standpoint. I tell people we're not coming out of slavery. We're still in a land of captivity, even in 2019. That's not going to happen until the Almighty returns, and he says he will gather us one by one. And there's so many things that has to transpire before that ever happens. In other words, the abomination of the desolation spoken by the prophet Daniel has to take place, the tribulation and so forth. But I do think that it is a milestone, the fact that the government in the United States is recognizing this as an anniversary date, and it's 400 years. Nancy Pelosi was just in Ghana, and she was there speaking of the subject. Now, because for years, the 400-year theory has been going on for 50 years in the United States. 50 years ago, people said it's the 400 years. In the 60s, they said it's the 400 years. So that's been going on for a while. So I will be very honest with you. I touch on the subject very loosely, but the fact that I touch on it now is to highlight the fact that it is 1619 and prophecy. The government 50 years ago, the government never acknowledged like they are today. They are actually acknowledging it. And the fact that they are acknowledging it, it's not to be lightly looked upon or non-coincidental, that we should not look at it. And so that's one thing, because remember in the scriptures when Daniel was told about his 70 weeks, that it would be from the time that the command was given forth for them to go and build. And when you look in the encyclopedia, we know when that happened. That happened during the time of Xerxes, and he gave them a commandment. If you know what year that he came into policy, then into kingship, and then 4 years later, or however it says in the 4th year of his reign, you can count. And I did that lesson here about 3 weeks ago on that. And I think that's important. The fact that the government is acknowledging it is important, and there's a significant value to that. So I like
just to add to that too.
Go ahead, Brother Banaya. You froze for a second.
I was just going to say, just to add. Yeah, I know my internet's a little flaky. But just to add to that.
Okay.
Yeah, because what we tell people, we don't say that we're leaving, in 400 years. We're I don't think anybody has ever heard me say that.
Right.
Because I like to kind of stick to the scriptures where it says you will be afflicted for 400 years. So what I try to tell people is that the affliction has to stop. That's the expectation, is that the affliction would stop after 400 years. And then even like this year, I caught myself because I work in IT by trade,
Mhm.
And, so I deal with math, and I was sitting down, it just popped in my mind as most times, I was like, let's say, all right, 1619 plus 400. Let's see, let's count that out. I was like, I think I'm short 1 year, because the prophecy, I mean, because when we came over to the first slaves came to Jamestown, they arrived in 1619. They
Mhm.
arrived. So the first year of captivity didn't complete until 1620.
1620. Right.
1620 is when the first year was completed. So then 400 years from that, that would be 2020 would be
2020.
400 full years served. Yeah,
Yes.
400 years served. So if you're going by the math, this August the 20th will begin the 400 years, and that's why I asked people to check my math on that. But
No, you're
I
right.
believe that this August is the beginning of the 400 years.
Right.
You know?
Right. And so that's a very interesting point that you brought out, because when I look at the events that are taking place, and when I look at the nationalist movement, it's because people feel like that they're losing grip, and
Mm.
so we see an overt reaction to that that's not
Yeah.
favorable to anybody. We don't want to see things that are happening at all. But as I tell people, Amos 3, third
Mm.
chapter says, "No evil happens, and the Lord have not done it." That's a hard saying, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
something people got to really realize, that the Almighty's in control,
Yeah.
and He's in control of everything. And
Yeah.
so that's how I love that. But that's a very interesting subject. Maybe we can talk more on it. One of the other
Yeah.
things that you did was Judah's arrival in the daughter of Babylon. Tell us about that.
Right. Right.
That's
Well, I mean, it actually no, it's part of the same thing where um, one of the things I've watched, and I've seen I know Sister T is out there as well. She knows about this, but a question has come up every from time to time, like, how do you know you're Judah? Like how do you know you're Judah? How we've seen the guys going around with the 12 tribe charts, right? And they'll point to somebody, oh, you from Naphtali, and you from Issachar, and where are you from, brother? That whole thing. And so the question is, so how do you know that you're from Judah? And what I wanted to share was that there's overwhelming evidence of you being from Judah, and the possibility of you being from any other, either whether you want to say the tribe or the house of Judah. The possibility of you not being from the house of Judah is very, very small. It's very, very
very.
slim, because the people that carried out the transatlantic slave trade, they had a problem with Judah. Like, but before the transatlantic slave trade even started, they were persecuting Judah at home. They were killing them at home. They were enslaving them. They were taking their property. They had laws against Judah. The laws weren't against Naphtali. The laws weren't against Ephraim. The laws weren't against all the other tribes. The laws were against Judah, right?
Yeah.
And then so they roll into the transatlantic slave trade. I mean, they literally persecute them at home, and then they put them on the west coast of Africa, and then they continue their persecution down there. And again, they're asphyxiated for some reason. They're
Mhm.
asphyxiated on Judah, and again, I think it's the hand of the Most High. It has to be the fulfillment of the prophecy as to why they're asphyxiated on Judah. So, but there's a lot of other references. There's like book references, when the book references talk about the slaves and the Jews being on the west coast of Africa. They explicitly kind of point out Judah in that. I mean, Judah or Jews. Even the term Jews also points to the house of Judah. Is what I tell people. But yeah. Anyway, but that's what the video was. The video was partly to answer the acknowledge the 400 years that milestone that's coming up, which, like I say, it's a major milestone for any so-called African American. You don't even have to be a Hebrew Israelite. I mean, just from a Black history perspective, 400 years in this country is a major milestone. And then in addition to that, I also wanted to just show, according to the references, that it was the children of Judah that came over, especially like when you look at the places of origin that they were taken from over into the United States. So that was the point of the video.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought out that other point. It's not that we're coming out of captivity, but it's a landmark, and it's something very important. But let me ask you this, brother Banaya.
Right.
Why is it? Are we still going through this struggle where it's difficult for people to grasp and understand? And I asked you that question to get your opinion on that because the Most High has blessed you. He's blessed other individuals that are doing what you're doing to put together videos and lessons on this. Why do you think it's such a struggle, even with evidence shown? I mean, you have gone through, man, you have gone really through the loops to put together academic information that correlates with biblical information. Do you still find that it's being difficult for people to grab a hold to, that they just don't want to receive it? Or what's been your experience since you've been putting out these videos?
Yeah, that's actually a real good question, because I think what I've noticed is that the pushback when we first came out with the truth, when I first came out with these videos probably like 2-3 years ago, a lot of the initial shock that I got back from the viewers had to do with no, this couldn't be right, and you black folks are just trying to grab somebody else's culture, somebody else's history. But of course, after these references have been out there for a while, after the videos start piling up, after the evidence starts piling up, what I'm noticing now is that the pushback is different. Like the pushback is no longer, you guys are not the people. The pushback that I see now is, why does it matter? So what, you're Judah? So what? There's neither bond nor free. There's neither Jew nor Greek, right? We are all one, and so I get a lot of that. And I think Pastor, I think one of the things I'm going to start a sign-up sheet. So anytime I run into a Roman Christian and they don't want to claim their heritage, and they don't want to they want to forfeit their inheritance, I'm gonna have a sign-up sheet where they can sign it over to me. So when I go over to the promised land, y'all willing, I'm gonna have all this extra land, So I'm gonna start that sign-up sheet on my website. You think I'm playing? I'm gonna have me a sign-up sheet, Pastor.
I like that. And I have to comment on what you're saying. That you're on point when, a person gets it when they say, what difference does it make? Why does that make a difference?
Right.
Why are we, that's polarization, that's divisive. Why would you want to talk about that? You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I know that the individual knows or has a very good idea that the information that they're getting could be actual or factual. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. You're right. So I mean, it's great because now we can have another conversation. Once you move past that conversation of having to prove it. Now I will say that that's in general. I mean, so we do still see some pushback coming from the Jewish. I think I think they're going to hang on until the last shofar blast. Because they're in the land and they're hanging onto the land. So I personally think that they're going to be the last ones to turn. But yeah, so right now that's the only place where I'm getting the pushback. Actually me and brother Ron as well. Ron Dalton on his channel as well. He's getting a lot of how do you say, comments from the people that are occupying the land today.
And again, a lot of that, and we expect that. But what is still surprising is that we're still getting this from Hebrews here in America. And I call it, if you're a Hebrew, if you are a descendant of Africa or coming on the transatlantic slave trade, I call you a Hebrew. There are still some
Right.
Hebrews here that just are rejecting. I mean, and don't want to know it. They'll tell you, I don't want to hear all that. Don't want to hear it. Please, I want to hear it. And I
Yep.
think that is, there's nothing that we can really do about when a person
Mm.
says, I don't want to know, I don't want to hear, I want to remain in blindness. Of course, we respect it, but a person has to
Yeah.
understand what they're doing when they do that. What's your feelings on that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna start that sign up sheet, Pastor. I mean, they start pushing back. I'm saying, okay, fine, brother. I'm not gonna argue with you, but do you want a handshake right now that you're gonna give me that inheritance? Because I mean, I guess it kind of goes back to, when you try to share the truth with family and friends, and sometimes and they'll get mad at you for sharing the truth. I mean, they'll literally get mad at you for teaching the law, statutes, and commandments and stuff like that. So
No,
um,
you're still there.
and okay, okay, but yeah, and I guess me personally, as far as my progression, I've got to the point where what, you know, uh, because I think the last one of the last arguments I had or I heard was this guy saying, no, this is the Messiah plus nothing. So Messiah plus nothing, and you start saying, but no, brother, you gotta follow the feast days, and and do this and do that. It's like, no, you guys are trying to be under bondage. It's the Messiah plus nothing. And and you can show them different scriptures. You can show them that when the Messiah comes back, the very first thing he does, like as soon as he breaks the atmosphere, he gives a commandment to the angels, and gather those up that commit iniquity, basically those that commit lawlessness. Go and gather those up that offend me, and those that commit iniquity or lawlessness, and then they go straight into the lake of fire, right? And I can show them that, and they'll still want to stay down that same path. So at that point, I kind of, I just let it go, Pastor. I don't try to beat them over the head with it. If that's the direction they want to go, then that's the direction they want to go.
And I just really commend you for your humbleness and what you do. I showed everybody your YouTube channel, the page. So
Mm.
you've been doing this for 2 years. You started your video, the one that where you and I first came across. It's been 2 years, my brother. Two
Yeah.
years. That
Yes. It's
video,
been a while.
it's been a while. It's been a while. And
Yeah.
you still have the energy. You still have the zealousness in what you're doing. What has been that drive for you?
Well, I guess I'm still waiting on um, the ultimate evidence, because I'm still, I know we can see that I've seen the awakening, the pace of the awakening quickening, as we progress through these years. I think the awakening is faster, stronger now than it was 2 years ago. So, but I'm waiting for that great awakening. I mean, when I look at the scriptures, I see that there's, something supposed to happen where the world is supposed to know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Oh, those are the people, you know. So I'm waiting for that, and at the same time, I'm also waiting for more truth to come out. So that's why I keep reading, because I know even though we've released quite a bit of truth, I know that there's a lot more truth out there, and even this week, just kind of doing some more research on the whole the Wando thing. Um, there's more truth to come out about that. I mean, that people will find surprising. So yeah, I mean, if you like mysteries, if you like, uh, I just say mysteries. This truth is for you, because there's a lot of mysteries out there to be had, and all you got to do is just find it. You just got to keep digging, keep doing the research, and that's part of the reason why I do it.
Well, and that's excellent, because let me tell you, certainly your videos have reached a lot of people. They've compelled a lot of people to really break it down. A lot of times, um, I'm very choosy in who I use as a reference or direct people to.
Right.
And so when I come across, I tell people, go, just put in YouTube Hidden Hebrews. Go see it. Go look at it.
Oh, great.
And one of the things I like is your videos are interesting. They are short, sweet, right to the point.
Oh,
Uh, and I tell people, go look at it before you debate with
mm,
me. Just go check it out because it saves me a lot of time. I can just instead of me trying to say what your film is,
right.
I can just tell, listen, go look at that, then come back and talk to me. We'll have a discussion. And it's worked. It really has been phenomenal in what you're doing. So I want to thank you
Oh,
for just that, being there, doing what you do.
wow.
Um, and I know that there are some weekends you have been traveling. I want it to be in history record that Banaya's first conference on
Oh,
the road was with yours truly, and it's an honor to be a part
oh,
of that history.
oh
And we
goodness.
certainly had a good time.
Oh, yes, sir.
Where are you going to be
Yeah,
going?
you kicked it off.
What's that?
I was gonna say you and Sister Tia, you guys kicked it off.
Yes, yes,
You all got the ball rolling, and after you started reaching out to people and bringing folks together, and after that, man, it just took off.
yes.
It
And
took
let me
off.
tell you, brother Kevin and Sister Tia, I have adopted them as my family now. And let me tell you, they're just wonderful. We are in communication. Sister Tia still does a lot of research, and she's always updating me, giving me things. And so I use her as that source because I'm now are more tied up. And so the ministry's growing, but she always keeps me update. If it's going on, if it's happening, uh, she's been my source and a very reliable source at that. Where are you going to be going at now? What are you doing now? I know that you were in
Yeah,
Detroit for the conference there. What are you doing next?
yeah, yeah. So next, let's see. So this weekend, I'm going to be down at there's a radio station down in Macon that we're going to do a quick show. It starts at 9 a.m. And actually, if you're on the YouTube site on the community page, I put a little post there where you can, if you're up at 9 a.m. Eastern, just we're going to briefly go over 1619, the 400-year prophecy, and some other things. And that's in the morning tomorrow. And then next weekend, I'm going to be in the Bronx, New York, and we're going to be at Sister Only Love's church, Only Love Austin's church. And again, we're going to bring the message of our history of Judah coming to the Americas, and so that's next weekend. And then I think I have a break the following weekend, but then the weekend of I want to say that the 6th and the 7th and the 6th, 7th, and 8th. I think it's like 3 days. Our brother, our brothers in North Carolina, our brother Pastor Douglas.
Yes,
We're having a conference down there too. So yeah,
yes.
it's so New York next weekend, and then the 2 weekends after that, we're going to be in North Carolina. So it should be fun. I think we're going to help spread the truth, help spread the our history, and hopefully, I think we're trying to, especially at Pastor Douglas's event. We expect a lot of first timers, as far as like folks coming from Christianity that are curious as to who we are and why does it matter, and that sort of stuff. So me and brother Ron Dalton are going to be down there trying to help wake up some of our people, hopefully.
That's awesome. And I did get an email from um, our brother down there, Elder Douglas, in there and letting me know about the date. I didn't get his email. I didn't read it until
Okay.
almost 3, 4 weeks later
Okay.
because I overlooked it. And so
Oh,
I read it, and after he was on, he told me I'd sent you an email. So I went back and I saw it. I says, how did I miss that email? But he's doing a
Oh yeah,
phenomenal job. The 7 Day Harvest Ministry
yeah,
over there in the um, High Point, North Carolina area. So that date, when is that
yep.
date going to be? Do you did you say the 5th, 6th, and
Oh yeah, I
7th of
want to say it's
September?
yeah. It's that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Friday,
Friday, Saturday,
Saturday,
and
and
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
And
So if you all
yeah,
in that area, go over there and check that out. Um, I may be able to get there for a day or two, fly in and fly right back out.
awesome.
So that's that's what I'm going to see if I can do because it's I can get right
Oh, good,
in
good, good.
to that airport and get right back out. So that's going to be in High Point, North
So
Carolina.
they,
What's that?
yeah.
I didn't hear you,
No,
brother.
I was gonna say. So part of oh, they're going to be screening Brother Ron Dalton's new movie. You know, the he has Hebrews to Negroes. It's the I believe it's part two. The age of the Revelations, I believe, is part of the title on the second video. But in both the Bronx and also in North Carolina, we're going to be screening his movie. So if you haven't seen the Brother Ron Dalton's Hebrews to Negroes movie two, that's a good place to see it because he will be premiering it as well as having some discussions afterwards. Because sometimes you'll watch a movie and you may have some questions as to what certain things meant, or you just have follow up questions. That'll be a good place to do it.
Absolutely. My adopted daughter's there, so
Yeah.
she's kind of excited with the idea of me
Oh,
popping in there. So, but that's our goal right now, and we're just looking forward to that conference because you do all you're doing an awesome job, and I want to tell all of you all,
come
if
on
you
through,
haven't
Pastor.
seen Hidden Hebrews, go see it. If you have not seen the YouTube channel for Brother Banaya Israel, you all check it out. Here it is right here. Just put in the word Banaya Israel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button when you go there. And he has quite a bit on there, a lot of information. You all go check him out. And he also has a website. The website is,
Mm.
what's your website?
HTT it's https colon / Benaya, BENAYAH 4, the number 4, Israel.org, Benaya4Israel.org.
BeneaForIsrael.org. So you all go there, check that out. Uh, and we're looking forward to hear more from our brother. Now, Brother Benaya, I know you got to get
Yes,
up in the morning. I told you I won't hold
yeah.
you late on this one tonight, but I want to thank you for
Thank you,
taking
Pastor.
the time out to stop in on our Bible study on Friday night and to just be a part of us.
Oh,
Any lasting remarks you want to leave with us?
just thank you for inviting me, Pastor. Like you said, I mean, I think you will go down in history when it's all said and done because you and Sister Tia, you guys got the band together, right? You got the parties talking to each other. That wasn't happening before. The collaboration wasn't happening before. But once we started stitching the right people together, we see a lot more coming together within Israel, a lot more collaboration. The
Yeah,
the the conference in Detroit is an example of it. Like when Brother Ron Dalton had the conference in Detroit, it was literally like a who's who of Hebrews, of Israelites there.
yeah,
Minus a few faces there, but for the most part, there were a lot of people that you normally see on the internet. You saw there at the conference. So,
right.
but yeah, I just want to say thank you again for all the work that you do. Thank you, a special thank you to Sister Tia, all our supporters. because, you know, we make the videos, but, you know, you guys help share them out. You guys put them in front of family and friends. Just like you said, Pastor, you know, you're the ones that are recommending the channel and the stations to other people. And that's what's driving the traffic, and that's what's helping the awakening. So,
Yes.
so please don't stop doing that. That's because that's what's really driving the awakening is the sharing out of the information. So thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. Brother Ronald Shields, Brother Divine Prospect, was sharing the same thing with me, and just, you know, the fact that even the conference in Fort Lauderdale that we had here, and putting people together for the first time was just awesome. And so our prayers are going to be with you for tomorrow. At 9:00 a.m., Brother Banaya Israel is going to put some information and where he's going to be at. You all tune in. If you're up, get up. I'm going to have to be at the congregation because we have a baptism early in the morning. We're going to be departing at 9 a.m. So, but our prayers are going to be with you, my brother. And we will be sure that we won't go so long in talking. And if it's the Most High's will, I will see you in High Point, North Carolina.
All right. I'll be looking for you, Pastor.
Okay, my brother. Shalom. Right. Peace.
All right. Shalom, family. Shalom, family. Peace.
That was Brother Banaya Israel with us. And we want to thank him for being with us here on this channel. 18334 Bethel, 18334 Bethel. That's our number here in the chat room before we move on to something else. You all make sure you tune in. Again, I'm going to put that number down so you can get it. That's 18334 Bethel. I was hoping to have a young lady on tonight, but she is not able to come on. And maybe something may change. I'm going to look and see. But I really, let me just see here. Let me just see if she's able to do that. But anyway, I thought I did put the number in there. Sister Banaya Israel, how are you doing? And truth be told, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Quiana, so many of you all here with us tonight. We are doing a great number. Now, I wanted to take a time to do that. This is how I wanted to spend Bible study tonight because I am going to have to get up early in the morning. I have to be at Bethel at least by 8:15. We're going to be departing there at 9 to go to the beach. In Hallandale, we're going to be baptizing 2 people. So we're looking forward for that tomorrow. So if you all are in the Fort Lauderdale area, you want to get baptized, come on by. Let's talk about it. So that being said, also my brother, Elder Robert Johnson, let's keep him in prayer. He will be resuming back with us shortly, but do keep him in prayer. Everything is well, but because of challenging situations, he's not able to be with us on Friday nights at this particular time. So our hats are off to him. Now, there was a young lady that was able to be here with us, and that's Lady Renee Taylor. I want to say to her, thank you for being in our webinar and our chat room with us tonight. She was on there, so thank you, Sister Renee Taylor. Also, I just wanted to, yes, Brother Banaya was able to leave some comments and responses back. We thank the Almighty for him. Now, tomorrow, and I want to leave this with you. Bible stories are important because I know I teach a lot of truth. I bring out a lot of things that needs to be talked about, that there's a need to have discussions on, such as Christmas, Easter, the Sabbath, eating clean, and what have you. but I also want you to remember the stories that are in the scriptures. And I'm going to leave one with you tonight. I'm going to leave it with you. Um, in fact, I may go there and read it. So let me see if I can go there, because I do want to go there and I do want to read that. Um, let me go over here for a second. Um, and I want to get you into the scripture. We're going to go to the book of, I want to bring up my uh, Bible hub here for a second. So just give me 1 second. Here we are. We're going to go here now. All right. I just want to bring out this passage, and I want to do it. I like to be in the King James Version, so I just want to fix this before I get over there. Okay, now, let me go back over here. I want to share this story with you before we depart, because again, a lot of times I do a lot of teaching and I bring in a lot of doctrine. But this week, since last week, in the next several weeks at Bethel, we're going to be talking about Bible stories, bringing out a lot of things that we can learn from those stories. So, right now, before we leave, I want to go to the book of Luke, Luke, the 17th chapter. This would not be Bible study if I did not do this. Luke, the 17th chapter. This is not the one I'm doing tomorrow, but this is a very important one. So I want it to be brought out. Okay, so we're going to go to Luke, the 17th chapter, and we're going to start with verse number 11. And we're going to read this. And it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go show yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. And Jesus answering said, Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? They are not found that return to give glory to God. There are not found that return to give glory to God, save this stranger. And he said unto him, Arise, go thy way, and thy faith have made thee whole. I wanted to just leave this passage. I'm going to leave it up because I want to bring out some things in this passage. I want to bring out some things here. Let me highlight it this way and go down. I want to bring out some things in verses 11 through 19. First of all, I want you to read, when we read this, I like reading it more than once because I always get something that the story is trying to convey. And it came to pass as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. Now, there's a reason why he's mentioning Samaria, okay? Because Samaria, he also, I'll get back to that. And as he came into a certain village, there he met 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voice and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go show yourselves unto the priests. why go show yourself unto the priest? Why go show yourself unto the priest? And notice that they did it. It came to pass that they went, they were cleansed. Why did they have to go show themselves to the priest? And we can determine that they were obedient because as they did that, they were cleansed. Now, showing yourself to the priest, we can go to the book of Leviticus, the fourth chapter. We're not going to, but we could, in the book of Leviticus, the fourth chapter, it starts in that fourth chapter, fifth chapter, sixth chapter, seventh chapter. It tells you what to do when you are going through the various stages of forgiveness of sins, thanksgiving, and all of that. So that's in the book of Leviticus, the fourth chapter, and it's got the law of thanksgiving. It's got the law of forgiveness. It's got the law of a variety of things, starting with the fourth chapter. The fourth chapter talks about if you sin against any of the commandments, it tells you what to do all through that fourth chapter. You jump over into the fifth chapter. In fact, I'll go there real quick into that book, and we're going to come back to this. We'll come right back to this, but I want to go there just for a second, and I want you to understand why he told them to go show themselves to the priest. Okay, and that's in Leviticus, the fourth chapter. Notice the Leviticus is the fourth chapter. It says, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying to them, if a soul sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord." It names several things. Not only that, if the whole congregation, if the elders, look at here, if the whole congregation sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord. Then it jumps down, if the elders of the congregation, if they, what they're supposed to do if they sin. It also goes on and says, when a ruler have sinned and done somewhat through ignorance against the commandments of the Lord his God, concerning which things he should not do, and he's guilty. It just goes on. And it says, if any of the common people sin through ignorance against any of the commandments, and what's supposed to take place. Now, the reason why what they're supposed to do is bring a lamb. In all these cases, they're supposed to bring a lamb. And as you know, today, the lamb represents the Messiah. Um, but it goes on and says, if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing and is a witness, it tells you what to do. If somebody touches anything clean, whether it's a carcass, beast, or anything like that, it tells you what you're supposed to do. If you keep going, one of the things, again, all of these you're supposed to bring a lamb of the kid goats for your sin offering. Now, this sin offering is because you have done something, like you pronounce something with your lips to do evil. It says, or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatsoever it be that a man should pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he should be guilty of one of these. So it names a whole bunch of things, what you're supposed to do in the event that you do something wrong. Again, if a soul commits sin, commit a trespass and sin through ignorance in the holy things of the Lord, and the holy things, that could be several things. I'll get into that maybe in a different lesson. If any soul commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, when he was it not, or he didn't know it, and he's guilty, There's things that they have to do. I'm jumping over because I want to get over into the different types of offerings and the different situations that you have to do when you commit a sin, even a trespass, even if it's a thanksgiving or a forgiveness. If a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord and lie unto his neighbor, and that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or a thing taken away by violence, he have deceived his neighbor, or have found that which is lost and lie it concerning it. These, like if you lie and say you found it, but you didn't acknowledge that you found it, you kept it. It just goes on and on to tell you what you're supposed to do. And there's some dealing with when you read these chapters here, the seventh chapter, it gets over into like here's the law of the trespass offering, what you're supposed to do when there's a trespass. Um, uh, Here's what you're supposed to do when there's the law of a sacrifice of a peace offering. There's certain things you're supposed to do. Um, Let me see if I can find another one. You just keep reading these in the sequential order of the chapters that goes on and on. But you got a peace offering, a Thanksgiving offering, all of these. Now, I bring this out because the Almighty told these guys, I want you to go and see the priest. So they were to, number one, go seek forgiveness, because you have to remember when the Almighty has a hedge around us. When we are disobedient to the Most High, we become vulnerable because the hedge comes down. I want you to realize this, the hedge comes down. Unless he's taken us through a test like he took Job through, whenever we are going through something, we need to question us. We need to question ourselves. We need to go to the Most High. The Messiah is the high priest now. We need to get on our knees and ask, what have I done? Um, a lot of times, the first thing we do is we start to blame the adversary. You know, the devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. I want you to understand the devil cannot do anything unless the devil has permission or the hedges come down from the Most High. Okay, so understand that. You can look at the story Job. He had to get permission. He was given permission. Other than that, you're not going to have permission to do these things. So the Satan cannot have permission to do these things. So we blame a lot, but we need to start looking at ourselves. You know, is there something I did? Is there something I'm not doing? What do I need to do to get back in the will of the Most High so that a hedge can come up around me? So when we go back over to this scripture in Luke, I'm going to go back over here. He tells them, I want you all to go and visit the priest. In other words, go and take care of. Go and offer your peace offering, your Thanksgiving offering, whatever it is that you need to do to get things right. You need to go do that. And evidently, they knew that they had to, because it says in verse 14, and when he saw them, he said unto them, go show yourselves unto the priest. It came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. See, the Almighty began to just heal them based upon, they knew what they had to do. There comes a point in time when you just don't have the protection of the Almighty. Be true to yourself, because you can really turn around and say, you know what? I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. And let me just say this. If you don't know what it is, think about it. Remember when David had got all up into his mess with Uriah's wife and this and that. He just went right on. He was trying to ignore what he had done. And the Almighty sent the prophet to him and gave him a simple little story. There was a man that had all of the sheep and lambs that he wanted. And there was another man that had one little ewe lamb. And he went over there and took that man's lamb. And David says that man ought to be punished for what he just did. Out of all of the other lambs, he goes over and takes that man's one little lamb. And he told David, thou art the man. Now, I'm not even for sure if the Almighty told the prophet what David did or just gave David, the prophet, the story, the parable to give to David and just to tell him, you are the man. Don't think that David's conscience did not kick in to know exactly what the root of that problem is or was. And so he had to straighten that out. Let's go back over here to Luke, the book of Luke. So as they went, it came to pass in verse 14, as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, this is something to really look at. There were 10. One of them, when he saw that he was healed, okay, he turned back with a loud voice and glorified God, because the healing did not come from going to visit the priest. It was the fact that he was repenting. He was thinking. And as he went, he was healed. And I believe that you have to bring this in with the law of sacrifice, of what type of offering to bring when you are asking for forgiveness. And in that day, they were supposed to go visit the priest, take what needed to be done, go and ask for forgiveness, whatever the case might have been. As they went, they were cleansed. And when he saw that he was healed, he turned back with a loud voice, glorified God. He fell down on his face at the Messiah's feet, giving him thanks, and he was a Samaritan. I want to bring that out because up here in verse 11, that he passed through the midst of Samaria. The Samaritans were not considered to be people that the Hebrews hung around. It just, the Syrophoenician woman and the story about her. So let me go over there to that so you can see what I'm talking about over in the book of Matthew, so you can get an understanding of how people were treated if they were not Hebrews. Let's go over to Matthew, the 10th chapter, verse 1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of diseases. He calls on his 12 disciples, but he tells them this: these 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. This is what the Messiah told them. I'm calling you 12, and I'm giving you power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, to heal all manner of sickness, all manner of diseases. But here's his command. Jesus sent forth these people and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And when you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, and freely give. Let's go over to the 14th chapter. The 14th chapter of Matthew, so I can continue to show you the irony of this. All right. I believe this is the one I wanted. It might be the 15th chapter of Matthew. Let me go there. I believe it's the 15th chapter. Then Jesus, verse 21, went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her in verse 23, not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she crieth after us. Now, maybe somebody has never read this before, but he's telling the woman, get away from me. He answered her not a word. And he didn't say get away, but he didn't answer her. And the disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away. She crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not, speaking to the woman, I am not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshiped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet, that means it's not proper, to take the children's bread, meaning the children of Israel, and cast it to dogs. He referred to this woman as a dog. And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the master's table. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith, be it unto thee even as thy wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Wow. Now let's go back to Luke. Let's go back to the book of Luke, the 17th chapter. And let's go back and examine this in the 17th chapter, verse 11. It came to pass as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria. There's that Samaria in Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, go show yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. One can make the assumption based upon this. At this point in reading, we don't know anything about the nationality of these individuals. And one of them, it separates the one from the 9. When he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God and fell down on his face at his feet, meaning at the Messiah, giving him thanks. But the writer takes the point to say, and he was a Samaritan. He was a Samaritan. Samaritans who we don't deal with. Samaritans who are cast out. I'm coming right back to this. Samaritans who the Messiah gave his disciples a command, a command. Go ye not after the Gentiles or the Samaritans. Don't even deal with them. Only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Healing the sick, the lepers, the lame, the blind, the deaf, the mute. Only deal with those individuals that are of the house of Israel. Everybody else, Gentiles and Samaritans, don't deal with them. And then we get into the 17th chapter of Luke, and we can gather a whole lot of things from this. Perhaps maybe one of the 10 was a Samaritan, and maybe perhaps the others weren't. What does that show? That when you have an issue, whether you are Judah, whether you're a Gentile or Samaritan, when people have an issue, whether the issue is they all are hungry, they all are poor, nationality don't matter. When there's a hurricane in South Florida and a community gets tore up, it don't matter whether you are Hebrew, Samaritan, it don't matter. You are in need. When it's hot and you don't have no electric and you need some water, you're thirsty. And that's what people see. And what the Messiah saw was lepers. And if you understand lepers, that whole disease, you are excluded from your family. You can't see your family. You're not with your family. You are a cast out. So no matter who you were, you are a cast out because you have a disease and you in the same boat. You have no other choice but to have fellowship and camaraderie because you have a common situation. And that was they all were lepers. Didn't matter whether they were Gentiles, Samaritans, Hebrews, it didn't matter. They all were lepers. And then when we first read the story, we had no idea who, what, when, or where they are. We only heard their commonality, and they were all lepers, and they all walked in a group together because they were outcasts together. They can no longer sleep with their spouses. They all are in the same place. If they were fathers or parents, they cannot see their children. They can't even be around them because lepers were cast out. The disease was looked upon as being very contagious. And so that's what happened with lepers. Okay, that's just the way it was. Homeless people are homeless people, whether they are Samaritans, Gentiles, or Hebrews. They all have the same thing in common. They don't have a shelter over their head and a bed to lay on and a table to sit down and eat. So in this situation, in this story, they all were lepers. And let me go back to, let's read this. And one of them in verse 15, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God, fell down on his face at the Messiah's feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus answered, said, were there not 10 clans? But where are the 9? Were they Gentiles? Were they Hebrews? There's an insinuation we can infer that this one was a Samaritan and perhaps the others were not. This is a lesson, Hebrews. Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? This is a lesson, Israel, spiritual Israel. This is a lesson. There are not found that returning to give glory to God, save this stranger. So when I read this, we can assume that this one is being titled a stranger, which means perhaps the others were not. Where are the 9? Nobody returned except for a stranger, a Samaritan who we don't deal with. And he said unto him, arise, go thy way. Thy faith have made thee whole. The other point I want to make out of this story is that only 10% of the people that you help will remember and be thankful and will never forget what you've done. Only 10%. Out of 10, only one. Only 10% of the people that you go out of your way to pray for will say thank you for praying for me. That's it. If you give 10 people who are stranded a ride, only 10% is going to remember and never forget what you've done for them and say, thank you, thank you. And the irony of all that, it may be who you are least expected to say thank you. It may be whom you are least expected to say, thank you. I would never forget that loan that you did or that money that you gave me. I would never forget that ride. I would never forget the invitation that you extended to me. It will be the person whom you least expect. A Samaritan. Were there not 9? And this one was a Samaritan. So I leave that with you tonight. And this is what we are doing this series to get what we can get out of Bible stories. I hope and pray that you got something inspirational out of that story. Truth be told, great example of how Gentiles are grafted in, and some brews aren't brews at all. That's okay. Truth be told, that is the truth. Let's see. Sister Tia says the Most High doesn't want the people ruling the world of Jacob without end that are racist. This is why Esau's world has to end. Yes. There is no room for racism. People still have that same mindset as the 9. Yes, Sister Quiana, they do. Just won't say thank you. Deja says, Pastor Johnson, this is a great Bible study. I thank you, Sister Deja. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Brother Philip says, hallelujah. And no one can block the kingdom from anyone, regardless of nationality. Brother, you will be surprised who makes it and who don't. Very good statement there, Brother Philip. So I hope you all enjoyed the Bible study tonight. I'm going to get out of here. We had quite a few in tonight. I think we got up to like 55, 60 watching in the chat room. You all hit the like button while you're here. If you can do that for us, we appreciate that. It helps get it out. And Again, tomorrow we're going to be covering a story like we did tonight. And it's going to be our lesson tomorrow, Sabbath at 1 o'clock p.m. Tune in with us. Tune in with us. If you're in the Fort Lauderdale area, come on by. Come on in and be in service with us at 12:30. We'll be starting our praise and worship, and we'll be up bringing the lesson at 1 o'clock. Afterwards, we do feed everybody. We do dine. We have food for everybody, complimentary of Bethel. And also tomorrow morning, again, we're going to be leaving Bethel. We're going to be leaving at 9 o'clock a.m. to go to the Atlantic Ocean, to the Hallandale Beach, where we're going to conduct baptism. So if you're in the area, please drop by there. Also, I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh, thank you all for supporting us on patreon.com. Uh, Thank you for what you do, because we're able to do things like on this platform, have guests. I am going to be getting a mixing board so I don't have to hold the phone when people do call in the 800 number. So we're going to be working on that. Sister Martha Costa, how are you doing, my sister? We do miss you down here at Bethel. We hope everything is going well, and we do hope to see you soon. Um, and let me see. I don't want to miss anybody. If I miss you, it's not intentional, but we just want to say that. So that being said, we're going to, one of our elders had to go into the hospital, keeping him in prayer. If there's anybody else that needs prayer, you want to shout that out. If there's something that somebody we need to pray for, we're going to pray. And because we're going through a lot right now. I mean, as a country, not as an individual. But don't you worry. Stay in the bosom of the Father. There's a hedge around you. I don't care what goes on. I don't care what. Don't be afraid to go shopping. Don't be afraid to do nothing. There is a hedge around you. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Don't worry about that. Don't live in fear. Live aware. Live consciously awake, and to know what's going on, know the signs, know what we have to do. If you're panicked, you can't operate. So that's what we want to do. I don't know why I needed to say that, but I did. Okay, so that being said, let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for the Bible study. We thank you for Brother Banaya Israel. We thank you for the work that he's doing. We thank you for what you have placed upon his heart and mind to develop and to put out, so that on this platform, many can come into the truth. We thank you for the platform that you have given us to do this Bible study and the social media ministry, even on tomorrow, the Sabbath. We thank you for those that are able to be in the chat room with us, that tunes in every Friday, and those that are subscribers, and those that share these lessons. We want to ask you to let your face shine upon them as well. Those that um, financially support, we ask that you look upon them. And those that are in the hospital, there's so many in the hospital, Father, that we know. You know who they are, one by one and name by name. We ask that you look upon them. We ask that your healing take place over their bodies right now. We're like that individual that says, you don't have to come to my house, just speak the word. And so that's where we are, Father. Those that we know that are in the hospital tonight, that are recovering from surgery today, we ask that you let your face shine upon them. Bless the candidates for baptism tomorrow. We thank you for just putting it upon the hearts of their minds to want to get baptized, to enter into the marital covenant agreement with you, Father, which is the plans and the steps to salvation. And we ask that you continue to give us a word on this platform. Continue to let us study to be able to show ourselves approval, and that we can also, Father, be able to give scriptures and put line upon line and precept upon precept. Nothing that we have done, no understanding that we have of our own, but no wisdom or knowledge that we have of our own. But Father, we thank you for removing the scales from our eyes, opening up our understanding, our knowledge and wisdom through your Holy Spirit. These things we ask and pray in Jesus' name. All right, so thank you all for being with us tonight. Brother Ronnie Wealth, how you doing, my brother? I hope everything's going well with you. Glad to see you here. So that being said, I'll see you all next week right here, same time, same channel, same place, same platform. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Peace and blessings to all of you.